into another episode of the Delco Duo on your Saturday night. I'm PHL 17's Monica Cryan.
And I'm Jenna Meisner. So happy to have you for a little bit of time over your weekend. Hope you've been enjoying it. If you're a first-time viewer, welcome to the craziness. We have a great episode planned for you. And what exactly is it that we do, Monica? Because it's important work and the people need to know how we are helping them.
And how this works. Remember Dear Abby back in the day? That's what we're doing, where people would write in and ask for advice. We are now doing that on TV podcast form.
So any issue you have, it could be with a family member, a neighbor, a coworker, an inanimate object. We have talked about parking and things of the such, customer service on the phone. We'll talk about anything. You send it to us, and we will give you our best advice on how you should deal with it.
Yes, and before we get to all of it, we're going to go to the debrief. So the debrief is that this is like episode 7, I think, for television, but it's episode 50, technically, for the podcast.
So that's a little bit confusing if you're watching. So you're like, hey, wait, what? I thought this just started over the summer. What? This is only the 7th episode, television format. But before all of this started, before we hit the big screen here, we started as a podcast. And that's a little bit more into our setup if you're looking at the table the way it is and the microphones, because this did start as a podcast.
It's so different from like our actual 4-hour news show that we do every morning. This is a lot more different, obviously a lot more laid back. I mean, this is what I'm wearing.
So you don't do the forecast in ripped jeans?
No, I would get in so much trouble. But yeah, so it's much more laid back, and we're literally just giving you advice. We have no
certification. We are not therapists. We have not been trained in this.
This is what people need. There's a need for this. People have issues, and they just want to be able to talk about it sometimes. So this, I love the podcast. It was really fun when it was just, us talking and saying whatever we wanted to. We're like,
Now the FCC, we have to limit some of the things that we say. Love you, Federal Communications Commission.
Is that what it stands for? Yes. I'm not a journalist, so I have no idea.
Federal Communications Commission?
I guess.
I think that's it. I graduated a little while ago, so. But anywho.
The only reason I know FCC is from Eminem. The FCC won't let me be me.
Yeah, that's kind of like this.
Trying to take me down from MTV. That's like us.
So let's talk about if you are, because I get some comments like 11:30 is so late. I love you guys, but I can't stay up. Well, guess what? There's other ways that you can listen to this.
Yes.
So here they are.
So, and there are all like 50 episodes on YouTube and online. PHL17.com/Delco Duo. All 50 of our episodes are up there. YouTube, search PHL17.
And Spotify, of course, home of many a podcast. All you have to do is search the Delco Duo.
And also, I do think if you want to get really technical, our show used to be called Dishin' with the Delco Duo. So if you're on Spotify, it's also under Dishin' with the Delco Duo.
But now that people can watch us rather than listen to us, they have some opinions. Oh. And we appreciate all of your feedback. And one of the
we listen to it.
We listen to it. And we're going to show you how we listen to that right now. Because one of the biggest things that we have heard are about our flashing lights in the back.
Which Jenna and I love.
It's a party. It's Saturday night. Do you not like fun?
But if multiple people have said, not only are they not having fun with these lights,
distracting.
They said it's distracting, and one woman said it gives her a headache. So
I don't want anyone to get sick or have any medical emergencies due to the Delco Duo's
so we're doing it.
So this is a ceremony at the time.
Bye lights. All right, bye party scene. Here we go. Jenna's doing it. And we're doing it for you guys because you have written in so much about the hating the lights.
Such a difference.
I was afraid you were going to get shocked by that.
Before the show started, Monica's like, "Are you okay? Do you know what you're doing?" I said, "I think I can handle unplugging the lights." So there it is. Hot. You can see it's a very high budget here.
Oh my gosh, this was
This was gifted to us.
You see what this says? This is Yingling's Raging Eagle Mango Beer.
They
Disco
gifted
Light.
Yingling when they came in to the show, the morning news show. They gifted us this as well as some beer, and we kind of stole it for Delco Duo. But you guys don't like it, so take it up with Yingling, okay?
Take it up with Yingling. We love it, but we'll take it down for now. Also, our boss isn't here to tell us otherwise. So.
But look how boring it is now. Now it's just a blue wall.
I think. Well, we'll have to find something else for this.
We'll ask you guys, please tell us if you're watching right now, if you want this light or if you don't want this light.
What do you like?
Whatever response we get more of, maybe we'll plug it back in.
And then if not, what should we put behind us?
Yeah, what do you want to see behind us?
We
Because
definitely
that's
need
boring.
a Delco sign. Maybe that's it. Just a
A Delco flag, maybe?
Yeah, the coordinates of Delaware County.
All right.
Longitude, latitude.
Have got your issues to get into this week. As always, thank you so much for sending us your problems. It makes us feel better that we're not the only ones that have some issues.
And we're not the only ones watching. People are actually
Are you
writing
out
in.
there? Hello?
People are actually writing in. So the first issue comes from Aaron from Aston. How do I talk to my wife about group chat etiquette? There is an etiquette.
There is an etiquette. And Aaron goes on to say that when other people post news in their group chat, it could be, I got their family group chat, because everyone typically has a family group chat.
Yes.
I got a new job. I got a promotion. I'm going to propose to Cindy, whatever the positive news
dinner
is.
Friday night, come over at 8.
Aaron's wife then follows up with her own news. So it's, hey, I got a new job. And instead of, everyone else in the group chat is saying, congratulations, that's great, Aaron's wife is sending a photo of their children. Look how cute Johnny is.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest issues is that it's something about our kids. Never giving space for people to, have their own kind of news. It's just like, oh, yeah, well, here's a picture of my kid.
Here's how great my children are. That's so irritating. Please, you have to let other people feel like proud of themselves and accomplished, because when your family hypes you up, when they're like, oh, that's so awesome, congratulations, and you're getting all those texts back, it's such a good feeling for yourself.
And then to get a picture of a kid like, oh, Susie slid down the slide. Oh, no one cares about Susie. But I think the first step is that Aaron recognizes this, which is great, because a lot of times husbands just go along with it. And they're just like, what? What's wrong with posting about my kids? The fact that Aaron recognizes this, that's step one. And all you got to do is just talk to her about it. But I would wait.
Gotta be careful.
Not immediately. When she sends the picture of the kid, don't immediately say, why did you do that? Why'd you send a picture? Now you're not. Then she'll get super defensive. I would wait until you guys are just like sitting down one night and just be like, hey, one thing I noticed is that you send a lot of pictures of our kids when someone's talking about something else.
You 100% have to respond, congratulations, that's great. And then later on, maybe an hour or 2, 3 hours later, if your kid did something great, send that photo. But in the moment, you cannot do that. Aaron, I agree with you. I think it's great that he recognizes this. It's got to be a conversation.
Yeah. And
don't be self-centered.
It doesn't have to be a bad conversation. This can be like a lighthearted, hey.
Stop doing that.
Stop doing that. You cutie. But stop.
And then I don't want Aaron's wife to think like, now she's like, oh, you hate our kids? You don't want to send our kids to the group chat?
But it's
not about
there's
that.
a time and place for everything. And usually it's not for Susie sliding down the slide.
All right. Give space for others to enjoy and really take their good news and give a heartfelt response.
Yep. All right, so we've got another issue coming up next after the break, and this one is about friends with benefits. How far is too far?
How far is too far when it comes to friends with benefits? That is a good question, Monica. We're going to talk about it coming up.
Never good. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if you liked the lights because Jenna just broke it.
I did not break it. I wanted to move it off the table because if you're just tuning in and you didn't watch the first 10 minutes of the show, you're like, what is that random light sitting on the table for? So the top of it may have popped off, but I think it can pop back on.
Pop off.
You'll,
Pop on.
You'll see next week if we have the light and if it works.
Okay, so our next issue is Eli from East Lansdowne. I've been friends with the girl for about 4 years, and really close within the last 2. Recently, we decided to take it to the next level, and it's the single worst mistake I could have made. We no longer have chemistry. The flow is gone. We bicker all the time. There's no physical chemistry. This sounds awful.
Jeez, Eli, let it out.
I don't understand how she doesn't feel it. Is it even possible to save the friendship at this point?
Is it possible to save a friendship after a failed relationship?
I mean, that's really simplifying it because this seems like really bad. The fact that they're like...
Eli just went in on this email. Yeah, Eli was like, I can't do this anymore. Delco Duo, help me.
Yeah, and...
We're here to help you. What are you...
Because I think these are the funniest descriptions. I want out. And I tried to go back to friends, but she's not having it.
So then there's your answer. You're not going to be friends if you're already trying.
So he tried to go back to that friend zone. And which is so funny because most guys hate being in the friend zone, but Eli seemed to really like it.
Let me back into that.
I want to go back.
I want to go back. It's too late. You've already crossed that line.
Yeah, I had a friend once, and
you had a friend once.
No,
one time Monica had a single friend.
That's not what I meant by that. I meant to say my friend that I've had for forever. One time, actually came to me and said, I have this really good guy friend, and we want to take it to the next level, but I don't want to ruin our relationship. Should I dive in? And I unfortunately said yes. And then
how did it end?
It did not end well. And then they're no longer friends.
Look, I know the saying goes like the best relationships start as best friends. The best relationships grow out of friendship. I don't believe that.
I do not believe that.
I do not think that is true. Mm-hmm. Tate and I were not friends before we got into a relationship.
You couldn't stand me. And now look at us. I think, when we want to take a look at examples, instead of using real normal people, let's use celebrities as examples.
Well, because we look to celebrities for influence.
So we have some celebrity couples.
Wow, we all know how this one ended.
In fire.
Kim Ye,
they were friends, and that was a notorious part of the show. Then there was Sean and Camilla.
That's a more recent breakup.
Which I didn't know they were friends before.
Yeah, so they were friends for a long time before they started dating.
Oh, that's so interesting. That didn't end in flames. That ended amicably, kind of, as far as I know.
And then we saw a quick view there of Ashton and Mila, and they obviously are the success story at the end of, because the first two are not success stories.
But we don't even know. Ashton and Mila, they could in a few years, and nothing ever works in Hollywood. But so far, they're a good success story. They've got beautiful kids. I do feel like you not only lose your significant other when you break up,
but you lose a friend.
You lose one of your best friends.
A close friend, and probably breaks up some sort of friend group.
Others.
Yeah. And I'm sure if you started out as really good friends, you're all in the same group. So now that group has to pick sides, and nobody wants to pick sides. Nobody wants to do that.
And in the end, really what happens to the friend group is everybody goes their separate ways.
But I feel as though Eli asks, can we save our friendship if we're not in a relationship? Is this a friendship worth saving? It seems like you're having a lot of issues. Yeah, like if you're constantly bickering.
If you're bickering as significant others, then you'll probably bicker a good amount as best friends. I do feel bad about this, though. I don't think you should obviously give up on the friendship. See if you can make it work, but I think you've gone too far.
She doesn't seem like she's going to let it go.
Yeah, especially there's no physical chemistry. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's a whole other problem in itself.
Usually that's how friends go from friends to significant others, is like the physical chemistry is just so hard to ignore. Go for
the magnetic pull. That's like a fairy tale. That's like what you read in the romance novels. I don't know. I wonder if they did have, a really strong physical chemistry and then it kind of dwindled.
And then when their relationship went sour, so did their physical chemistry. But you might just have to count this as a loss, Eli. You lost a friend, you lost a significant other.
And that's the risk you take. With risk comes great reward or comes failure.
Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, great reward. Kim Ye, this is fire. This is a dumpster fire.
It's an absolute mess. But that's a 4-year friendship. He says they were friends for 4 years. Yeah. And I think that's lengthy. That's lengthy. I would think that's lengthy.
I count friendships as we're talking 10, 15 years now.
You don't see that as often anymore, though. especially with these Gen Zers. They have all their social media friends. There's so many friends out there in the outer internet space.
Jenna's my little window into Gen Z. Yeah. I don't know what's going on
Gen Z,
there.
though. I'm still a millennial, but I'm closer to the Gen Z. Okay. I can kind of see what's going on.
Some new and budding friendships, but
there's always two sides to every story, though, as well. So Eli's friend/girlfriend that's breaking up with, if you're watching and you want to give your side of this story, we would love to hear that.
Of course, this is anonymous, so she has no idea who she is. But anyway.
Again, yes, Monica, that's a good point. Eli's real name's not even Eli. So I don't know.
Write us in if you would like to. Tell us if you've been on the other side of this, where you've had a good, successful friendship into a relationship. And next up is one of our own issues. Find out who's having some problems this week. Stay with us.
Talked about yours. Time to talk about ours.
Oh, we got plenty.
And welcome back to the Delco Duo.
What a surprise.
Episode 7, as our director just said in our ear during the commercial break, that he can't believe that we still have this show.
We're only 7 episodes in, and he thinks this should be canceled already, which is wild.
I can't imagine why he feels that way. Maybe because he witnessed our pre-show meeting, which happens right here about 5 minutes before we go to air, and we just kind of say, we're going to do this, and that's what's going to happen.
So we go, and a lot of it just is like, okay, you say this, and then I'm going to go, ba-ba-ba.
And then yada, yada, yada. And then
you do this.
And
that's how the show goes.
And then it's television magic. You're enjoying yourself. I know you are. All right. It's come to that time of the show where one of us has an issue. What's Monica crying about?
Not technically me, but my mom. So that's what, when we're talking about our own issues, it's not always our issues.
We drag our family into it.
We drag our families into it. And my mom would kill me. But she has these rounds of bad luck in her life. And she is a very blessed woman. She will tell you that. Very, very blessed in life.
I feel like we need to phone her in or something. She's going to be watching this like, Monica, what are you talking about?
She would hate me if I got her on the phone. But every so often, I'd say maybe, sadly enough, like every 7 years, she'll just have a string of bad luck.
Okay.
And then, and it's not just her bad luck. My bad luck is her bad luck. Her kid's bad luck is her bad luck. So
I think a lot of parents would feel that way.
Yes, exactly. So if one of her kids is having bad luck, for example, my brother, when he was wrestling for college and high school, he kept getting injury after injury. And my mom would get so upset and she would be like, oh, our family, the bad luck. And she's super Italian. So she calls it not the bad luck, but she'll pray to these Italian like demons almost called the Maloiks. Now, I spell it out for you right here.
My mom's running with Maloik.
With the Maloik.
That looks like Malicio. That's how I would say it.
So I think it's
Malicio.
Mal is bad and Ochio is eye. So it's
bad eye, evil eye.
Evil eye.
And isn't that Greek?
Well, evil eye is Greek, but they have it in many cultures. So there's like Greek culture, I think Indian culture, and then Italian. It's called the Malocchio or something, but my mom calls it the Maloik. It's the Maloik. And she says it like that. She's like, oh, I'm praying to the Maloiks.
I don't understand, though. If you want good luck, why are you praying to a demon?
You're praying to them to leave you alone.
Okay.
And so I looked more into this because my mom is praying to these guys 24/7 during a bad stretch, but you're only supposed to do it on Christmas Eve. Which is so weird.
What? Okay. So you can only pray to them on Christmas Eve.
That's when you go to them with this prayer and you're like, please leave me alone. Like, you won't leave me. That's when it works best, is Christmas Eve.
Does your mom know that?
No, I haven't told her.
Maybe that's why it hasn't been working at all for her the last however many years.
Yes. So, oh my gosh, I'll never forget the one time she called me when Ronnie was going through his bout of bad injuries. And she was like next to tears. And she's like, I'm outside of church and I'm going to pray to the Maloiks. I'm like, I don't think you should go into church and pray to the Maloiks. I don't think the priest will appreciate that.
Oh, I just picture your mom like setting up a ritual like in her house and just like praying to these.
So I think we have pictures of the evil eye again.
Yeah, so that's Greek.
That's the Greek one.
Yes.
And I couldn't find any pictures except on like Google.
Because your mom made up the Maloiks.
No. Oh, this is when I got to say, you got to write us in. This is Rita Ora. Look at her necklace.
Does this have
Look
any?
at her necklace.
Okay.
But I think it
Thank you,
just
Rita
goes
Ora,
to show. I think it goes to show the bad eye, the evil eye in all different cultures. It obviously has good standing. Like you gotta.
The
pray
evil
to
eye,
them
though, in Greek, it's supposed to protect you. I felt like when you wear the jewelry, that protects you.
Right, but then in the Italian one, it looks like a pepper. It literally looks like a hot pepper.
This is getting stranger by the minute.
I don't really understand it. I'm not even sure my mom does, but she prays to.
So your issue, should she stop? Do you think she should stop praying to the Maloiks?
I love it because it's so funny. She's such a, well-educated woman. She's so smart.
She's a doctor.
She's a doctor, and she's super Catholic. And I'm pretty sure it would like sacrilege, but it's just like a cultural thing. It's just an old Italian thing that they used to do, and her grandmother used to do it, so she does it.
This is the first time I've ever heard of the Maloiks.
You guys got to write to me if your family members still pray to the Maloiks.
Well, not even the Maloiks, but what your family does, who they turn to when they're having bad luck. Is it an object? Is it something spiritual? What do you do when you are having rounds and rounds of bad luck?
Bad luck. And everybody's kind of been there where you're like, oh, why is this happening? But she also was praying to every saint in the book.
Someone help Gigi.
She's like, I prayed to St. Anthony and the Maloik. I'm like, I don't think those two go together.
They do not go hand in hand. All right. Well, that is interesting. I think we all learned something this evening.
If I'm saying it wrong, I'm
also,
sorry.
Send in a pronouncer. We're also going to teach you something else. So we always had to break with Delco trivia. This is the question this week. What was the city of Chester originally named? We're going to have that answer after the break. All right, here's that question again. What was the city of Chester originally named?
Got any ideas? I actually had none. But it turns out the answer is Upland. So it was first called Upland?
Yes, so by the Swedes who settled there first because it reminded them of a low-lying area that was in Sweden, and that was called Upland.
Yeah, because it's not upland of much. So
can you imagine though that Chester reminded Sweden, like it looked like Sweden?
Yes.
That is just so crazy to me that back in the day, I mean, obviously it's developed a lot more and there's different things, but it looked like a part of Sweden to them.
And it reminded them of probably like their growing region. And I find it so interesting though, because there's still an upland in Delaware
There's
County.
Upland Street. Right off of 95, and then an area that I guess
Yeah, because my dad used to work in Upland.
So they kept some of that name, but when William Penn came in, and it would turn into sort of the safe haven for Quakers, he changed the name to Chester after a city in England. Oh. So it was kind of like, I'm here, this reminds me of this place, and
this is a safe place for the Quakers and to come, not necessarily the Swedes, because okay, we were like Swedes.
So can you just imagine like just arriving to places and be like, this reminds me of
I shall
this.
name
So I'm gonna call it Upland.
No, you shall call it Chester. Where does Chichester come from? What's chai mean?
I have no idea. All I'm thinking is like a chai tea latte.
I'm thinking chai tea, but
that's all I can think.
That's not the same thing. It's a tea. It's a tea Chester.
I only have one piece of trivia, one nugget of trivia each show, Monica. So I can't tell you where Chichester came from.
We are learning,
but I'm sure I could find out on the internet.
Learning so much. First of all, about Delaware County, and then on top of that,
and Chester's the oldest city in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I was going to say in Delaware County, but in all of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Shoo,
that's what their website
old,
said.
Chester, you getting old. Okay, you can submit your issues to Delco Duo at phl17.com or DM us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah, you can find us all over social media. And again, this is the 50th podcast episode, so Spotify, YouTube, phl17.com.
Find us anywhere. We're fun.
Have a great night.